Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's special live edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, an in-depth look at the beef cattle industry in the great state of Florida. Plus, a preview of the 2013 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show.
And now, a live edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's special live edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, brought to us from our friends at Merck Animal Health. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. The 2013 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show is just a few days away, and many folks from all over the country are making preparations now to join their fellow cattlemen and women in the Sunshine State of Florida. Let's take a look at some of the great events we have to look forward to next week in Tampa.
Each year, thousands of cattlemen and women gather for one important and unforgettable event. The Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show offers a unique blend of business, education, and fun. Attendees have an opportunity to get information about critical issues affecting the industry and have their voices heard during the policy decision-making process.
This is where the decisions are made. You know, this is where a lot of decisions will be made on the future of what we're going to stand for as far as policy.
You know, if you're going to be in the industry, you ought to be in the industry. You ought to be a participant in it. You ought to come here and share and give and take and enjoy. I certainly recommend it.
You'll meet lots of wonderful people that have the same common interests in mind, and a wonderful feeling to work together for a common goal and to support the beef industry.
For those looking to find out about the latest in cattle-related products and services, the NCBA Trade Show features hundreds of exhibitors. With more than 250 companies in attendance, this is the largest and most advanced trade show for the cattle industry.
This trade show is one of the best trade shows that is out there. It's amazing the amount of industry and businesses that come here to be a part in. And there's no other place that, for those of us as beef producers, can go to have this much information in one place. It's an event that we will never miss.
The trade show is awesome. It's very large, and it's an awesome opportunity to get lost. It's like the Disneyland for the beef industry, I guess.
Educational opportunities provide more reasons to attend. Cattlemen's College is now in its 20th year and is one of the most thorough cattle producer education programs in the nation. In one day, Cattlemen's College offers a wide variety of informative, hands-on workshops designed to help cattle operations of every size and sector.
It's a great chance to have access to a lot of different resources, if you will, at one place at one time. And gosh, the variety of speakers that NCBA lines up is just terrific. And so it's one I think as a producer I would plan to attend. I certainly wouldn't miss it. It's a great way to kick off the conference.
It's so complex, and there's so many things today that you have to look into that we learn from this college. And I've been here since in the 70s, for crying out loud, and do walk home with something new every time.
There are also events designed especially for younger cattle producers, which adds an extra kick to the convention. The programs for ages 9 and up focus on education, leadership, and teamwork.
We have a public speaking contest, a youth quiz bowl, a team marketing contest, and the cattle judging. These contests help the kids develop in-depth knowledge about the beef cattle industry, and so they're developing leadership skills that will be beneficial to them and to our industry from now on.
It gives you people skills because you get to meet friends from all around our country, and it's just one of those great things that I encourage every student, if they can, to come to it, because you get to be an advocate for the beef industry and you get to meet friends that you'll keep for lifelong.
This trip to Tampa isn't just about work. Attendees will also have a great time hanging out with their fellow members of the cattle industry.
We're talking about very serious issues, but at the same time, if you're going to take the time to go there, you want to be able to have some fun and enjoyment. And they have planned some really fun activities in addition to our business sessions and our planning sessions that we'll be going through.
You've got to have a little entertainment and fun. and that's part of it as well. We always try and make every convention a little more unique, a little more a special event, different days and so on. So I think you're going to see a great convention, a lot of good things happening, and a few surprises as well.
If they haven't been here, they don't know what they're missing. It's just a great connection spot, and you'll find that you have so many things in common with your fellow cattle producers while still being independent.
Always good to see people from around the country that we've come in contact with over the years. It's fun to catch up with them, and there's usually a little fun involved with it, and it's a good few days away from the farm.
Thousands of cattle producers have found out over the years that the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show not only helps you become more profitable, it's also a whole lot of fun. I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
The 2013 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show is next week, February 6th through the 9th in Tampa, Florida. And it's not too late for you to join us. If you'd like to register, just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF and we'll be happy to get you signed up. We're also taking your convention questions tonight throughout the show. In fact, we've got a panel of experts ready to take your call right now. Again, the number to call is 1-866-USA-BEEF. There's always a lot of great events going on during convention week, and every year seems to outdo the one before. Let's head to reporter Marvin Kokash for more on what we can expect next week. Marvin?
Kevin, it's going to be a great week in Tampa. I hope everybody hops in their trucks and on an airplane and get down to Tampa, Florida, because we're going to have a great time. With me today, I have Kristen Torres, Executive Director for Convention Meetings for NCBA. Kristen, tell me a little bit about some of the events going on in Tampa.
Yeah, we have a great lineup of events planned for the convention in Tampa. We're going to start out the week with Cattlemen's College that has a world-class education program lined up. Then we're going to hear from the Tui family, who are the folks that are the inspiration for the Blindside movie. Stuart Varney will be there. He's a Fox News correspondent. We're also going to have a whole lot of fun with the Gasparilla Party, get to see the latest products and services in the trade show, and then we'll close out the event with a concert with the Beach Boys and the Bellamy Brothers.
You know, every day is a busy day for a cattle producer. Why should they make coming to this convention a priority?
Sure. This convention is the one chance throughout the year that cattlemen can come together with their fellow cattlemen from across the country. They can see all the latest products and services in the trade show all under one roof, and they get to have a whole lot of fun.
You know, we have thousands of great NCBA members, but do you need to be an NCBA member to come to the convention?
No, absolutely not. You do not need to be a member to attend the convention. However, our members do get significant discounts off the registration fees, but absolutely, if you're not a member, they're all welcome to attend.
You know, we've heard about how great this trade show is. If I'm a cattleman, can I just come in just to see the trade show?
Yes, absolutely, you sure can. We have trade show only registrations each day, and they can register on site in Tampa, or they can call us tonight and we'll get them taken care of.
Yeah, and I think that trade show is Wednesday night, Thursday, and Friday, correct?
That's correct. Wednesday night we kick off the trade show with a big party starting at 5 o'clock, and then it's open Thursday 10 to 5 and Friday 9 to 5.
And again, can you tell folks how they can register?
Yes, absolutely. They can call us here tonight and we'll take their registrations over the phone, or they can go to the Tampa Convention Center in downtown Tampa, arrive there on site, and we'll take care of them there.
Thanks, Kristen. Kevin, it is going to be a great experience. I know we've got so many fun things planned for cattle producers from across the country. We have thousands of cattlemen already pre-registered, and so we're looking for more the merrier. Kevin, back to you.
Well, thanks, Marvin, and thank you, Kristen. Next week's definitely a week you don't want to miss. To register for the 2013 Cattle Industry Annual Convention, or if you simply have a few questions about the convention, just give us a call. That's 1-866-USA-BEEF. Also during tonight's show, we're taking an inside look at the beef cattle industry in the great state of Florida. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Matt Fleck takes us to an operation that has a unique focus on cattle as well as water. Let's take a look.
Two Rivers Ranch sits comfortably where the Hillsborough River and Blackwater Creek converge in Florida. It's a multifaceted cow-calf operation.
We're a cow-calf operation. We run Beefmaster and Red Angus bulls and Charolais for our terminal cross. The ranch has very diversified. We're a timber, citrus. They have the water over here at the springs. They're into quite a bit of other things.
Well, the diversity is what keeps you sharp. You know, cattle is wonderful, citrus, you know, fiber, but all the different marketplaces are ones that keep you, diverse, and you have to be.
Two Rivers Ranch focuses on taking care of the land. The multi-use property supports everything from improved pastures and forested areas to a wide variety of wildlife.
Well, agriculturalists are really the first environmentalists, and if we don't take care of our ecosystems will react violently and not take care of us. So we don't look at ourselves as anything other than stewards of the land.
The unique climate in Central Florida means Two Rivers Ranch pays close attention to specific traits in their cattle.
In Florida, our resident cow herds are adapted for our environment and our soils, and so we have very high adaptability for a tropical environment. And their primary breeds are Hereford, Angus, and Brahma crosses. And then we use purebred bulls, so we have a very predictable outcome on our calves.
With the grass that we have, as you can see, there's a lot of water. And this time of year, usually it's pretty wet, and they're rooming, the cattle in Florida, the rumen is really large because they have to eat a lot to get the goodie out of it. And when they leave here and go west, they can eat a lot of grass, and they can gain fast.
The abundance of water comes from a natural spring on the property. While a portion of it is used for agricultural purposes, Two Rivers Ranch also bottles it for drinking water in Florida.
We had the good fortune of having a second magnitude spring located on our property that is a primary source of the Hillsborough River. And in the mid to late 80s, we were approached by an international company that had a long history in the bottled water business about helping them develop a natural spring water brand. And we bottled our first bottle of Zephyrhills natural spring water in 1989 and presently bottle about 500,000 gallons a day.
Whether it's bottled spring water or beef, the consumers of those products are moving closer every year to Two Rivers Ranch as the population of Florida expands.
Within a 15-minute circle around our ranch, there's between 5 and 6 million people. So we're surrounded by it. And so we really are trying to do a great job of not only just preserving our property, but educating others about what it means to have a ranch, what it means for the environment, as well as just continue to educate the young kids here in Florida.
It's that dedication to the environment and the local community that's key to Two Rivers Ranch. It's something they hope people understand about Florida agriculture.
The reality of it is, majority of Florida is based in agriculture.
Florida's just a great agricultural place, and it's a kind of unknown to a lot of people. So if people from other parts of the country need to be aware that Florida is a huge agricultural engine, and it's a great place to be involved in agriculture.
Reporting from Two Rivers Ranch near Tampa, Florida, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We'll have stories from more Florida ranches coming up later in the show. This special live convention preview would not be possible without our friends from Merck Animal Health. And joining us in the studio is Dr. Rick Sybil. He's the Director of Technical Services for Merck Animal Health. Rick, thanks for coming to the show.
You're quite welcome, Kevin.
Well, let's begin by talking about some of the leadership initiatives you all invest in for the beef industry.
Sure, Kevin, I'd be happy to talk about that. We have a couple we're particularly proud of. We have our Food Animal Resource Team. We have Beef 106. And at the end of the day, these kinds of programs help us continually connect with our producers right through the consumer. And it makes a big difference for us, and we hope it makes a big difference for the customer.
Absolutely. And beyond the producer, I know you've invested a lot of money downstream in the packing industry and even beyond that in retail. Tell us about some of those investments and initiatives.
Sure, I'll be happy to. We learned some time back that when you produce a product that's going to be consumed by a whole bunch of folks that sort of don't understand agriculture, you got to spend a lot of time in the chain trying to help in advocacy, trying to help in leadership initiatives so that everybody understands the product that we're helping to come from the field, goes right to that plate and has a lot of good stuff that everybody enjoys.
And so what are some of those initiatives then?
Well, we've spent a lot of time with our packers talking to them about why the beef that's coming into the packing plant is the right kind of product for them to resale to the folks that they want to. We spend more time with the retailers, getting close to the butchers behind the counter, helping them understand why the product looks the way it does and all the good things that go into that product when it gets to them.
Those are great programs, and obviously a lot of our viewers know your broad portfolio of products, but what they may not know are some of the things beyond products that you all are doing to benefit beef cattle producers. Tell us about some of those.
Sure, be happy to do that as well. We have lots of national and regional meetings that we put on for our customers, most of them are cattlemen, around the country. Now those meetings sort of talk about our products, but more importantly they talk about other things as well. The last couple of years we spent a lot of time investing in speakers talking about how we in agriculture have been tremendous environmental stewards and we're doing it better than anybody ever thought. That's a feel-good message that has to remind those customers, those producers, they're doing a really good job for us and for the rest of agriculture.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming to the show, and thank you for sponsoring this evening's show.
Again, you're quite welcome, Kevin. We're happy to do that.
For more information on Merck Animal Health, their leadership initiatives, or their products, just visit our website at cattlemanandcattleman.org. Or you can log on to mercanimalhealthusa.com. When we return, we'll visit the Florida Cattlemen's Association annual meeting and learn about a museum that teaches kids about Florida's rich cattle history. Plus, we'll get an inside look at the entertainment at this year's Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches, and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. She knows her place, he knows his. And we know our place. It's right here. Their health is in all of our hands. At Merck Animal Health, we are dedicated to improving the health and well-being of animals through innovative science-based solutions, products, treatments, and services that help ensure a safe and affordable food supply, from cattleman to consumer, from farm to family. We're with you every step of the way. Our values are your values. We work where you work. What drives you drives us. We're Merck Animal Health. Your livelihood, our responsibility.
I'm looking forward to having Vista Once back. We weren't able to find an equivalent product.
I think our practice will be very quick to adopt Vista when it comes back.
All of my veterinary colleagues have all talked about the product coming back.
We're glad to have Vista back in the product line.
Cattlemen that we work with will be glad to have the product.
We have a lot of producers that are excited about it coming back.
Yeah, can I recommend Vista Once? Yeah, that's going to go right back in the cooler, and it goes right back in the calves.
Welcome back to this special live edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, brought to you by our friends at Merck Animal Health. We're taking your convention questions and getting you registered to join us in Tampa, Florida next week at the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show. Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF. Many state and national organizations work around the clock to protect our way of life. Whether it's burning boot leather on Capitol Hill or finding solutions to local challenges, the end goal is always to promote the beef industry. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brad Bullup visits with members and leaders of the Florida Cattlemen's Association to learn about the issues being addressed at their annual convention.
Whether it's the trade show, the silent auction,
or the opportunity to learn and make new friends, cattlemen from across the Sunshine State of Florida head to Marco Island each year for the Florida Cattlemen's Association annual convention.
Well, I'm here to join in all the meetings, stay up to date on what's going on in the industry, have some input, see friends, and plus it's a good time for our family to come down here and enjoy the beaches.
Well, some of the most important things I think we've done this year is we've started a Cowman's Club, which would allow us to help fund research projects. We also have had some real wins in the legislature this year. We've accomplished quite a few things for the landowners in this state from a property rights standpoint. And we have just had a tremendous year from just the industry itself.
The Florida Cattlemen's Association works each year to bring resources and events to its members. The annual convention is a great chance to relax away from home, and it's a time to focus on the issues affecting the cattle industry in Florida.
Well, we have water issues, water management. They kind of inflict rules, and we have to kind of try to get them to where we can live with them. And the death tax.
Well, Florida not only is a large cow-calf state, but it's a large people population state. We have almost 20 million people, and in the land size that we have some conflicts or potential conflicts.
You know, a lot of this residential and commercial is infringing on agricultural lands, and it's very difficult for cattlemen or people in agriculture to carry on with subdivisions right adjoining their properties. And it's not a matter of, you know, who was there first or what comes first, but, you know, you're fighting population issues.
The issues facing Florida's cattle industry can be unique compared to the rest of the U.S., but the cattlemen in Florida share the same values and love for raising cattle all U.S. cattlemen have become known for.
We have some real unique habitat that we get to say grace over, and it's just a way of life. It's not a whole lot different ranching in Florida than it is in Texas or Oklahoma or Kansas or the Dakotas. We certainly have a large population on our coastlines, and we have to spend a lot of time educating the elected officials on what ranching is all about. But the lifestyle, the way of life, the great people, the independence that it offers, and it's a great place to raise families.
Reporting from the Florida Cattlemen's Association annual convention in Marco Island, Florida, I'm Brad Bullitt for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Being a member of your state as well as your national organization has never been more important. And joining me in the studio is Kate Maher, Director of Membership Services for NCBA. Kate, thanks so much for coming back to the show.
Always glad to be here.
Well, Kate, tell us, why is being a member of NCBA so important?
Kevin, NCBA membership is really a business investment. We know producers can't be in two places at once. They can't be at their state capital. They can't be in D.C. every day talking about the issues. NCBA membership comes with an assurance that you have a staff working full-time for you on all the tough issues day and night in Washington, D.C. that affect your business. We've got watchdogs there for you, and that's what an NCBA membership does.
And what do more members mean both to NCBA and to the industry at large?
Quite simply, more members mean a stronger muscle that we can flex for the industry. Now more than ever, it's so important that we all join together and stand up and fight for our industry, especially when you have special interest groups like the Humane Society of the United States. In fact, more people donate to HSUS than there are beef producers in the U.S. They get millions of people to pay $19 a month, and that money is largely used to fund activity that is directly putting you out of business through anti-agricultural lobby activities and legislation. We're asking beef producers to join for an investment of what amounts to just over $8 a month to help counteract those measures and help us level the playing field.
Now, you were telling me earlier you think now is a perfect time to become a member. Tell folks why you believe that.
You know, we've had a lot of success in the past, but we have a lot of challenges ahead. NCBA works with our state associations every day to make sure that our industry is well represented in D.C. When you think about the farm bill that we need to work on this coming year, you know, we need to make sure our voice is heard. We need to make sure there is strength in numbers. Becoming an NCBA member really makes your state association membership more effective and helps us face the battles ahead.
Now, sometimes you come to our show bearing gifts. Did you bring any incentives, any special incentives for becoming a member tonight?
Absolutely. I always like to bring something just to thank our producers for the support that they give us. We can't do it without them. So to thank them for their support, if they call and join tonight, they will get a 100 milliliter bottle of Dectomax injectable from Pfizer. In addition, they get great discounts at the convention registration down in Florida. We encourage them to come and do that. They also get discounts on Cabela's, John Deere equipment, Roper and Stetson footwear and apparel. So there's a lot of things that folks can hopefully take advantage of to thank them for their support and return some money on them on their investment.
Sounds like you might be able to make money by becoming a member.
Sometimes you can.
Thanks for coming to the show, Kate.
Thanks, Kevin.
To become a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and take advantage of these great incentives, give us a call now at 1-866-USA-BEEF. Again, the number to call is 1-866-USA-BEEF. The Bellamy Brothers are known around the world for their great country music. They've had numerous #1 hits like Let Your Love Flow and Redneck Girl. But did you know they also raise Brangus, Angus, and crossbred cattle just north of Tampa? Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Sharon Alseth visits Darby, Florida, where the crossroads of cattle ranching and country music meet at the Bellamy Brothers Ranch.
This old place was bought by our great-great-grandfather Abraham Bellamy in 1870. After he came down here and he had a bullet in his hip from a skirmish at Chickamauga, Georgia.
He moved down to Florida and bought basically the old place here. The original old place is only about 200 acres.
The Bellamy brothers are the third generation on the ranch. Raising cattle is the foundation of the Bellamy family.
In Florida, you know, there's such heat and humidity, you need some Brahma influence in your mother cows, and that's the way we were raised with Brahma cattle and what we used to call our native cattle early on that the Spanish brought in way back were what we called cracker cattle, and that's what we were raised on. They would cross the cracker cattle with the Brahmas, but they could endure anything, you know, it could, just stand all the elements. And we were reintroducing some of the Brahma breed back into our herd just because as we get older, we're kind of getting sentimental, I guess you could say.
Well, the cattle we have now, as Howard was describing, we, are kind of getting back more toward our native herd. Kind of the way the cattle we had when we grew up around here, which was, partly, I guess a lot of them were Brahma. Our dad and them used to call them Bramers, and he's go pen that old Bramer cow,
It takes a different technique to pen cattle in Florida compared to Western standards.
We didn't call them cowboys in Florida. We called them cow hunters. Because you literally, the woods were so thick, you had to have a dog and you had to hunt cattle to find them. They could hide, a lot of hiding places. And then we have what we call cracker horses as well. They're very smaller framed, so they could fit through the brush. So it was a different lifestyle, than you see out west.
Our land then was much different because we had to go get them out of the woods and stuff. It wasn't as much improved land as we have now. But it made for interesting times.
The Bellamy brothers found a second profession when their father introduced them to the world of music.
Our father always had music in our home. Our father played, and we started playing with our father and his friends when we were very young. And little did we know we were going to, grow up and making that as a profession.
Well, I think the music business was a little bit of luck and accident, because we grew up. Our dad played dobro in a kind of a western swing band.
We actually moved to Los Angeles in like the early 70s. We re-recorded Let Your Love Flow.
Just let your love flow like a mountain stream and let your love grow.
Let Your Love Flow and Redneck Girl are just a couple of the Bellamy brothers' biggest hits. Their quick rise to fame in the early 70s jump-started an exciting music career.
We've toured in like 60 countries and seen a lot of places.
We've toured everywhere from, exotic islands in the South Pacific to the
you know, to Japan and Australia and South Africa and Europe. So it's just normal to us. But when we're here, we just like to be here at the ranch.
The Bellamy brothers always return to their ranching roots, weathering the ups and downs of the cattle industry.
Never get too high or too low. Times are good in the cattle business right now. Prices are high, and my dad would always say, "Eating never goes out of style, son." So he said, "Don't have anything around here you can't eat. If you don't plant flowers, plant a fruit tree or something." So, and as I grew older, I realized what he meant. You go through it all because you do have a passion for it. It's your lifestyle. And even the years you lose money, you still just hang in there. So that's what we've done. We've seen both ups and downs.
We're pretty much just a ranching family, and when we're off the road, that's kind of what we do. We enjoy the ranch a lot, and we enjoy the cattle and even the old Z-donk, walking around. And we like the outdoors and nature, and I think a lot of ranchers are that way.
Reporting from the Bellamy Brothers Ranch near Darby, Florida, I'm Sharon Alseth for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Now, the Bellamy Brothers will be part of the Hot Havana Nights after party on Friday night in Tampa. To tell us more about the great entertainment lined up for us in Tampa, we return to reporter Marvin Kokash. Marvin?
Kevin, I am a huge Bellamy Brothers fan, and I cannot wait to see them on Friday night. I'm back with Kristen Torres, Executive Director of Convention Meetings for NCBA. Kristen, tell me about some other big events we have going on in Tampa.
Yeah, we've got a great lineup of events the whole week long. Great speakers at Cattlemen's College, followed by some great general session speakers. We also have a sold-out trade show and a whole lot of fun planned for cattlemen in Tampa.
Rumor has it you got the Beach Boys too on Friday night.
Absolutely, we do. The Beach Boys will play, and then it's going to be followed by the after party featuring the Bellamy Brothers.
Oh, fantastic. You know what? I've been to the NCBA trade show. Tell me a little bit more about that wonderful trade show we've got planned.
Sure. As I mentioned, the trade show is completely sold out this year. So we have all the latest in products and services from about 230 different companies that will be featured there. We also have a new outdoor exhibit where we'll see New Holland equipment on display there. We also have live cattle handling demonstrations each day in the trade show, so we have education programs going on there, and you also can watch Cattleman to Cattleman live from the trade show floor.
Tell me about the trade show hours.
Yes, the trade show is open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week. On Wednesday, it opens up at 5 o'clock. Thursday, it's open 10 to 5, and then Friday, it's open 9 a.m. to 5.
And how can the folks at home register?
Sure. Registration is going to be available on site in Tampa, so they can just arrive at the convention center and register there. Or if they'd like to, they can pre-register, have their name badge ready, and call tonight, and we'll get their registration taken. And as an added incentive, anyone that registers for the convention is going to receive a coupon from Roper and Stetson to receive 50% off on their full order at their booth. Or if they register just as a trade show only, they get 25% off of their full order at the Roper and Stetson booth.
Well, thank you, Kristen. Kevin, it is going to be a great convention, great incentive. You can actually get your registration fees, all back with the Roper and Stetson incentive. And I think you and I maybe have we'll have a good time doing our little Wednesday night gig as well. So I look forward to it. Kevin, back to you.
I'm looking forward to a great week as well. Thanks, Marvin. We'd sure love to have you join us in Tampa. And if you call right now, we can get you registered so you don't miss out on all the fun. Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF. It's next week, February 6th through the 9th in beautiful Tampa, Florida. And if you have questions about the convention, we'd love to get those answered for you as well. Again, the number to call, 1-866-USA-BEEF. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm looking forward to having Vista Once back. We weren't able to find an equivalent product.
I think our practice will be very quick to adopt Vista when it comes back.
All of my veterinary colleagues have all talked about the product coming back.
We're glad to have Vista back in the product line.
Cattlemen that we work with will be glad to have the product.
We have a lot of producers that are excited about it coming back.
Yeah, can I recommend Vista Once? Yeah, that's going to go right back in the cooler, and it goes right back in the calves.
Join Superior Livestock at the 2012 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, February 1st through the 4th in Nashville, Tennessee. Stop by the booth, share a cup of coffee, and talk business. Buying and selling cattle the Superior way. You'll find more information on our internet bidding program, Superior Click to Bid, and other internet marketing options through Superior's country page. Stop in Friday morning and witness a live internet auction. For more details, go to our website, superiorlivestock.com.
The secret to finding more buyers for your cattle is no longer a secret. CattleExchange.com is like no other site. It brings the greater ease of use, detailed information, and searchability found in sites like Cars.com and Autotrader.com to the cattle industry. Upload photos and video to attract more buyers and share greater detail in your listing. Cattle buyers and sellers are connecting in ways they never imagined. Go to www.cattle-exchange.com and discover the secret to better selling.
Beef magazine is important to those of us in the industry. Being able to go back and maybe reread something several times to really understand how it relates to us and how we can use it in our operation becomes really important to us. The magazine becomes a good reference point in numerous areas, and most of the time the topics are pretty timely to what's going on in the industry.
Welcome back to this special live edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, brought to you by Merck Animal Health. We're taking your convention questions and getting you registered for the 2013 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show. The number to call is 1-866-USA-BEEF. If you're interested in becoming a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, we can help you with that as well. Again, the number you'll want to call is 1-866-USA-BEEF. Imagine this scene, being on horseback and away from your family for weeks at a time, rounding up cattle in an open rangeland and taking all the satisfaction that comes from a hard day's work. That's part of the experience at Cracker Country, a late 1800s era living history museum. Cattleman the Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has more from Tampa, Florida.
Well, Cracker Country is a rural Florida living history museum. It was started by the Carlton family, Doyle and Mildred Carlton, in the late 70s. Opened with this house where we're sitting right now, the Carlton House.
It is an exhibit, a living exhibit that is set up at the Florida State Fairgrounds. It depicts Florida living in the late 1800s and early 1900s.
Doyle Carlton III's father founded the exhibit in 1977. His family thought it was important to educate the public about the rich cattle heritage in Florida. But cattlemen were known by another name in Florida during the 1800s.
Well, Florida crackers got their name early on. They would round up the cattle, and the brush was so thick they couldn't use a rope like they do out west. So they would use cow whips, and they would pop and crack the cow whip, which sounds very much like a gunshot, to herd the cattle. And people would hear those whips coming from a long distance. Often they'd say, "Here come the crackers." So that's where the term Florida cracker really came from.
Back in the 1800s, Florida was an open range. So when it come time to go find your cows, you actually had to be a cow hunter. You couldn't swing a rope around because there were too many trees and palmetto bushes, so we used our bull whips to get the cows to move it. Crack it in the air, and it didn't take them long to figure out when they heard the crack of the whip it was time to get going.
Cracker Country expanded to include 13 original 1800s-era structures from around the state. Schools in the area participate in tours where students get a hands-on experience of what living in rural Florida was like.
We have 2 school tours a year at Cracker Country, and it targets mostly elementary age kids, and we'll have 25,000, give or take, each year of kids that go through and tour Cracker Country.
It's all a hands-on learning experience. Each group will get to do 7 different activities. They'll all get to make something to take home. They'll all get to make a class-sized jump rope. In the fall, they get to learn how we make cane syrup and actually taste cane syrup. They all get to see how we churn butter and make butter, and they all get to taste fresh homemade butter. So it's a real eye-opener for them.
We have kindergartners that were so interested in the whip, that's all they wanted to do, and was hear the whip crack. And then we have the teenagers that come in and They would really want to know what it was like to be on a cattle drive and the hardships and, you know, living 4 or 5 weeks, sleeping on the ground and riding a horse all day.
For folks at Cracker Country, it's all about giving kids and visitors a unique and memorable experience.
I think when a guest comes here, what they're going to experience is something they can get in very few places, because not only are you going to see museum exhibits, you're going to actually be able to touch it. You're going to get to do what people in 1898 Florida would have been doing.
Starting next year, we will be able to incorporate the cattlemen's exhibit with the Cracker Country experience. It'll be a good educational thing for the young people.
I hope that they learn something about the heritage of Florida. People think that Florida wasn't much of a state back in the 1800s, but it was. You know, we were a major cattle producing state.
Cattle were introduced to Florida in 1521 by the Spaniards. The region became the first in North America to raise cattle, and Florida continues to be a major producer of beef cattle.
The Florida Cracker cattle developed sort of over a period of time. Genetically, they're almost identical to the Texas Longhorn. They look very, very similar, except the Longhorns have much larger horns than the Florida Cracker cow do. They're really beautiful cattle because they come in a wide variety of color patterns. And then it began to develop sort of after the turn of the century. They started experimenting with some of the European breeds. But what really made the Florida cattle industry take off here in the Sunshine State was when they introduced Brahma cattle, because they too were used to heat and humidity. And then it just kind of grew from over the years from that first start.
That's what Cracker Country is all about, celebrating the start of an era that made cattle part of America's heritage.
I think the big takeaway that's important to us is they leave with an understanding of history and its importance. And I think we do a very good job of that.
This is Florida 1898. And if they want to know what it was like, then they need to come here and look at it, because this is it.
It is a very wise culture and a very rich culture that I'm blessed to be a part of.
From Cracker Country in Tampa, Florida, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Now, if you're headed to Tampa, you can experience Cracker Country, firsthand. For more information, just log on to our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Information means everything in the cattle industry, and the 20th Annual Cattlemen's College is sure to keep you up to date on everything you need to know to keep your operation running smoothly. Joining me in the studio is Dr. John Patterson. He's the Executive Director of Producer Education for NCBA. Dr. Patterson, thanks for coming back to the show.
Thank you.
Well, for folks that may not be familiar with Cattlemen's College, tell us what it is.
This is the premier cattle educational program in America. We'll have 27 classes over 2 days. If you want to know about financial management, range management, the weather, predictions of the weather, what the consumer's saying about beef, you've got to be at this program. But one of the things I'm really proud of is that we've got one of the nation's top futurists. And he's going to talk about what it means to be in the cattle business and what you can look forward to over the next 5 years. Dr. Lowell Catley. It'll be entertaining.
Yeah, he's fun to listen to for sure. Tell us this. This is the 20th anniversary, I understand. Are you planning any type of special celebration during the convention for this special anniversary?
Absolutely. Pfizer Animal Health has supported this for 20 years. And as part of the celebration on Tuesday night, February the 5th, at 6 o'clock at the Tampa Fairgrounds, there'll be a reception to help celebrate the 20th year. Then on Wednesday at about 6 o'clock at the trade show, they'll also have another party, and we would really like to see you come to both of those receptions. They'll be a lot of fun.
You bet. I know you're a little biased, Dr. Patterson, but you know, for folks who say, hey, I have to come in a day early to attend that, why do you think people should make it such a priority to get to Cattlemen's College?
You'll not find this kind of information anywhere in America. I mean, these are the pros, these are the legends, teachers, and it's a mix of both academics as well as ranchers that are out there doing that, and they want to share. For instance, how do you manage drought in that? And so we've got an excellent panel on that. How do you manage breeding on your cattle? Excellent panel on that. Water, forages, as I said, the weather. Animal welfare is going to be a good topic. So there's a whole host of broad array of classes that you can come to.
Save me a front row seat on that drought management session, all right?
All right.
Hey, is the session full, or is there still room for people to register? Tell us about that.
No, the session's not full. Even though we have about 1,000 people that have registered for Cattlemen's College, you can still register for it. There's still room for it. You can do that either by registering tonight on the television or else come to the convention center. You can register. We'd love to see you on February the 5th out at the fairgrounds.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Patterson.
You're more than welcome.
The 20th Annual Cattlemen's College Sessions will take place next week during the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Tampa. And you can register on site. We'd sure love to have you join us in the Sunshine State. To register or to ask questions about the convention, just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm looking forward to having Vista once back. We weren't able to find an equivalent product.
I think our practice will be very quick to adopt Vista when it comes back.
All of my veterinary colleagues have all talked about the product coming back.
We're glad to have Vista back in the product line.
Cattlemen that we work with will be glad to have the product.
We have a lot of producers. They're excited about it coming back.
Yeah, can I recommend Vista once? Yeah, that's going to go right back in the cooler, and it goes right back in the calves.
Workin' Ranch magazine savvies the challenges and rewards of those who make their living on the ranch. From pretty loops in the Brandon pen to cold nights calving heifers, we cover the real deal. Subscribe today. Just go online to workinranchmag.com or give us a call. We'll fix you right up. You can also visit us in person at the NCBA convention in Tampa. Workin' Ranch, your magazine.
Here's what producers are saying about Progressive Cattleman Magazine, the beef industry resource.
I recommend that anyone who's serious in the beef industry about improving their operations, efficiency, and profitability subscribe to Progressive Cattleman.
There's articles, the advertisements are very well done, and it's kind of a quick and concise look at where the cattle industry is on that day.
Now, we find that it's a go-to must-read for us each and every month.
Subscribe today at progressivecattle.com.
When it comes to versatility on your operation, nothing beats a John Deere D-Series skid steer. They're not only great for cleaning and feed chores, but with John Deere Worksite Pro attachments, you can tackle just about any job thrown your way. You asked for versatility, and John Deere delivered. These rock-solid machines are built to last. See your dealer today.
Seasons change, but year in, year out, year round, it's Crystalix season. With specific supplements for weaning stress in fall, protein for pre-calving in winter, calving in spring, and minerals and fly control in summer. For low cost per head per day supplements, every season is Crystalix season.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
Sometimes the price of hay can be daunting to horse owners. I keep our ranch horses up in the corral, and when hay gets above $10 a bale, I actually weigh each feeding. Now, Clyde had a little band of brood mares, and to save money on his feed bill, the neighboring farmer let him pick up tags after the alfalfa field was cut. Tags are what's left after the baling is complete. Well, one hot evening, he and his wife took their old pickup into the neighbor's field to pick up tags. She drove slowly down the rows, followed by Clyde, who was pitchforking hay into the bed. She had to put the truck in first and low so he could keep up. He just sort of crawled along. As the pickup turned sideways to Clyde, he tossed in a forkful. It felt heavy, he thought. He glanced up and watched the hay float into the bed and a 3.5-foot snake shoot out of the cloud of stems and leaves arced through the open window and slap onto the dashboard. He shouted a warning to his wife, which was not necessary. She was already halfway to the house. The truck puttered along in first and low. Clyde raced to catch up. He was running alongside, trying to reach the ignition, and the snake was now sitting in the seat and struck out at Clyde. Clyde fell back and cartwheeled into the ground. As he watched from the gopher's eye view, the little pickup banged over a ditch, punched through the wire fence, and shoved its way into the mare pasture. The mare stampeded across the pasture and crashed through the wire on the other side and escaped into the desert. Finally, the little truck stopped, and it took them 2 hours to find and gather the mares in the dark, and they went to bed exhausted. Next day, armed with a hoe, Clyde opened the truck door as his wife stood by with a cell phone, sure that she would have to call 911 and report a snake bite victim. Clyde poked and prodded around in the cab and then carefully tilted the front seat forward. He screamed. His wife screamed, and then he fell back laughing, hysterical in relief. She peeked inside and saw a grumpy old gopher snake looking up at her as if to say, "Why can't we all just get along?" This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. Now remember, next week we're live from Tampa. We'll bring you the latest from the 2013 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show live on Tuesday, February 5th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll also bring you the sights and sounds from convention during a special 2-hour show live from the trade show floor. That's 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, February 6th. Thanks so much for joining us for this week's special live edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. We'll see you right here next week, live from Tampa, right here on RFD TV.